We can't sustain energy and effort for 48 minutes. And they can. That's why they won a championship. That's a championship team right there. We're not. So I don't understand.
LeBron, where he doesn't want to be held accountable that they're not another year of not winning.
He's just an awful leader. I mean, maybe he could have said, hey, I was 2 of 6 in that fourth quarter because he said we didn't make our shots down the stretch. We had great looks from 3. We didn't make them. No, you, LeBron, you were 2 of 6 in the fourth quarter. You were 0 of 2 from the three-point line, 0 of 2 from the free throw line. Like maybe some accountability.
Back to this. The Lakers have moved on from LeBron James. He's crying for them to build the championship roster, and they're telling him right in the front of his face in today's world, in 2026, that it's not about you no more. This is about Luka Donic. This is about our future. We're not rushing to do anything to please you. This is what this is about.
Wait a damn minute. Did LeBron James just quit on his team in the middle of the season? Did the so-called king just wave the white flag, throw in the towel, and tell the entire basketball universe that his Lakers squad isn't worth believing in? Because that's exactly what it sounded like Wednesday night after the Lakers got handled by the Oklahoma City Thunder. And just so you know, OKC didn't even have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. The reigning champs showed up without their MVP-caliber superstar and still made the purple and gold look like a G-League squad down the stretch. But that's not even the wildest part of this story. The wildest part is what happened after the game, when LeBron James sat down in front of those microphones and decided to keep it devastatingly real. No filter, no political correctness, just straight up, uncut, unfiltered truth that sent shockwaves through the NBA landscape. When asked to compare his Lakers to the defending champion Thunder, LeBron didn't hesitate.
That's a championship team right there. We're not. We can't sustain energy and effort for 48 minutes. And they can.
Mic drop. The king just looked at his kingdom and said, "This ain't it, fam." Now the internet exploded. Twitter went brutal. Sports shows spent the next 24 hours debating whether LeBron was being refreshingly honest or catastrophically destructive. And you know what? Both sides have a legitimate case.
No.
That's not what he said.
No, but that's not.
The Lakers are not a championship team. Not even close. Not in the same universe as championship teams. If you watch them this season and come away thinking they're title contenders, you either haven't been paying attention or you're smoking something that should probably be illegal. The numbers don't lie. The Lakers are 22nd in defensive efficiency. In a league with 30 teams, they're closer to the bottom than the top when it comes to stopping opponents from scoring. They're 27th in defensive field goal percentage, which means teams are cooking them from everywhere on the floor. They're 28th in contested shots per game. And you know what that means? Lakers cannot win a championship. So yeah, LeBron's assessment is accurate as hell. But here's where we need to pump the brakes and talk about what really happened here. Because this wasn't LeBron dropping truth bombs after a 30-point blowout. This wasn't him being honest following an embarrassing defeat where nothing went right. This was a game the Lakers were competitive in. They were up by 1 at halftime, through the fourth quarter. They had a chance. They were right there. And then LeBron, who shot a pathetic 2 of 6 in the fourth quarter, who went 0 for 2 from 3, who went 0 for 2 from the free throw line when his team needed him most, decided this was the moment to tell everyone his team isn't good enough?
No, you, LeBron, you were 2 of 6 in the fourth quarter. You were 0 of 2 from the three-point line, 0 of 2 from the free throw line. Like maybe some accountability. I mean,
that's the problem, folks. That's what has people furious. Because leadership isn't just about stating facts. Leadership is about taking responsibility. It's about owning your failures before you criticize others. It's about looking in the mirror first before you point fingers at your teammates. You know who understood this? Kobe Bryant. You know what Kobe would have done after shooting 2 of 6 in a crucial fourth quarter? He would have said, "I didn't make enough shots. I didn't execute. I didn't get it done. We'll be better next time." He would have taken the entire blame on himself, even if it wasn't all his fault, because that's what real leaders do. They protect their teammates in public and they hold them accountable in private. You don't throw them under the bus on national television. You don't tell the world your team isn't good enough when there are still games to play, still opportunities to chase, still a glimmer of hope remaining. But LeBron, he went the other direction. He essentially told his teammates, the fans, the entire basketball-watching world, don't expect anything from us. We're not that team. We don't have it. And people are asking, why? Why would you do that? What's the strategic advantage? What's the leadership benefit? Is this supposed to motivate guys? Is this supposed to inspire confidence? Is this supposed to make Anthony Davis play harder? Make Austin Reeves defend better?
LeBron, where he doesn't want to be held accountable, that they're not another year of not. You don't have to say everything out loud. Okay? Like you don't. I don't think it's fair for this guy who's an all-time great, and he has one of the youngest and biggest stars in the game playing with him. They have no shot. Really?
LeBron James, one of the greatest players in NBA history, playing alongside Luka Donic, one of the most talented young superstars in the league, and LeBron is out here acting like he's stuck on a lottery team, acting like there's no path forward, no chance, no hope. Less than a year ago, everyone was talking about the Lakers' Big Three. Everyone was hyped about what LeBron and Luka could do together. People were putting them in their dangerous teams nobody wants to see in the playoffs category. And now, suddenly, after one loss to OKC without their best player, LeBron is ready to mail in the season? That's wild. That's unprecedented. That's not what champions do. But let's dig even deeper into what makes this situation so explosive. Because LeBron isn't just some random veteran on this roster. He's not just another player clocking in and clocking out. He's had influence on how this team was built. He's been involved in conversations about roster moves. He's had a say in personnel decisions. So when he sits there and says, "We don't have enough," isn't that partially his fault? Isn't that partially his responsibility? You can't be involved in building the house and then complain when the roof leaks. And here's where Kendrick Perkins dropped an absolute truth bomb that cuts right to the heart of this entire situation.
Back to this, the Lakers have moved on from LeBron James. He's crying for them to build the championship roster, and they're telling him right in the front of his face in today's world, in 2026, that it's not about you no more. This is about Luka Donic. This is about our future. We're not rushing to do anything to please you. This is what this is about.
That's it. The Lakers aren't building around him anymore. They're building around Luka. They're thinking about 2027, 2028, 2029, years when LeBron will either be retired or playing out the string somewhere else. And that's gotta hurt. That's gotta sting. When you're LeBron James, when you've been the guy for 23 years, when every team you've played for has bent over backwards to accommodate you, to please you, to build around you, and then suddenly that stops? That's an identity crisis. That's an existential crisis. So maybe these post-game comments weren't really about the Thunder. They weren't really about championship aspirations. Maybe this was LeBron venting his frustration about being demoted, about being devalued, about watching his franchise prioritize someone else's future over his present. And you know what? That's human. That's understandable. But it's still bad leadership. Because here's the thing, the Lakers' record when they enter the fourth quarter with a lead? 23-0. You read that right. 23-0. They're undefeated when they have a lead going into the final 12 minutes.
Do you know what the Lakers' record is when they have a lead going into the fourth quarter?
It was like 18-1.
You know what the record is? 23-0.
So how can LeBron sit there and say they can't sustain effort when the numbers show they close games out perfectly when they're ahead? The problem isn't closing. The problem is getting the lead in the first place. The problem is consistency. The problem is showing up for all 48 minutes, not just the last 12. And that's a coaching issue. That's a roster construction issue. That's a collective team issue, not just an effort issue. But here's where the story gets even more complicated. Does LeBron have a point? Absolutely. Did Rob Pelinka do enough at the trade deadline? Hell no. They went out and got Luka Donic, a solid three-point shooter who doesn't address any of the Lakers' core problems. They need toughness, they need defense, they need a front court presence who can anchor them when things get physical. And what did they get? Another perimeter shooter on a team that already has spacing. The Lakers' biggest problem isn't offense. They can score. The problem is they can't stop anybody. They're soft in the paint. They get bullied on the boards. They get torched on the perimeter. And Pelinka's solution was to add more offense? That's organizational failure. That's front office failure. So in that sense, maybe LeBron's frustration is justified. Maybe he's tired of being blamed for losses when the people building the roster aren't giving him the tools to succeed. Maybe he's exhausted from carrying a franchise that won't invest in the pieces he needs. But even if all of that is true, it doesn't excuse what he said. Because when you're the leader, when you're the highest paid player, when you're LeBron freaking James, you can't quit. You can't give up. You can't tell the world it's over in February. Championships are won by teams that believe when nobody else does. Championships are won by squads that find a way when the odds are stacked against them. The 2020 Lakers weren't supposed to win in the bubble. The 2016 Cavs weren't supposed to come back from 3-1. The 2011 Mavericks weren't supposed to beat the Heatles. But they did, because they believed, because their leaders made them believe. And that's what's missing here. That's what LeBron failed to provide in that moment. Belief, hope, confidence. Instead, he gave us resignation, defeatism, surrender. And for a player of his caliber, with his legacy, with his platform, that's unacceptable. That's disappointing. That's not what we expect from someone who calls himself the king. So where does this leave the Lakers? Honestly, in limbo. They're not good enough to be title contenders, but they're not bad enough to tank. They're stuck in mediocrity, the absolute worst place for an NBA franchise to be. They'll probably make the playoffs as a 6 or 7 seed, they'll probably win a game or two, and then they'll get bounced by a real contender who plays with the effort and intensity they can't match for 48 minutes. And LeBron, he'll put up his stats, he'll average his 22 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists, he'll have his highlights, he'll add to his all-time numbers, but he won't win another championship in Los Angeles. And deep down, I think he knows it. I think that's what Wednesday night was really about. It wasn't analysis, it wasn't honesty, it was acceptance. It was LeBron James accepting that this chapter of his career is over, that this Lakers iteration has failed, that his time as the guy is finished. And you know what? That's sad, because LeBron James is one of the greatest to ever do it. He deserves better than this. But champions don't make excuses. Champions don't quit. Champions don't tell the world they're not good enough. They fight, they compete, they believe. And that's the difference between being great and being a champion. Right now, LeBron is still great, but he's not playing like a champion. And that's the real story here.